And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special segment today. Hey, what day is it today? What day is it today? Today is the 7-Eleven. Well, there you go. You can go to your corner store today. 7-Eleven. And on this 7th day of November, it is wonderful to have your company, and 23 degrees and mostly sunny. A bit of a chance of a shower, it says, but I can't see that by the looks of it now. But it could change. So that's a prediction that there might be some showers later in the day. Likely chance of a shower, but we will see how it goes. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful to have your company back after the weekend, and what a great, big, huge weekend it was. And hope you've enjoyed the segment of Aapki Sehat, that is very special presentation of Indian Medical Association of Queensland. And remember, on Friday, I told you, and on Saturday as well, that we had the launch of the Incredible India exhibition, an initiative of Australian Indian Radio and Brisbane Indian Times, featuring our featured artist Madhu Khanna, who is our very own radio presenter, and she does a program Baate Madhu Ke Saath, and of course Ajay Savi, who does Dil Dosti Dunyadari, and she is a very popular host of our monthly Music Junction show. So here's a glimpse of highlights of the opening. So there was, thanks for Livon Photography for compiling that and we'll play the full version of the whole video one of these days. But it's wonderful to see those glimpses come together in the manner that has. So he's a very professional and very well done. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now moving on with the news segment. Australians almost 4 billion a year scam activity. So there's a lot that's happening out there. Always exercise care. Here's that report.
I wanted to kick off, though, with something you were keen to talk about this morning, and this is Australians and scams, and the figures that are being put around are pretty mind-blowing. $4 billion in a year, that's what businesses and Australians are losing?
Yeah, $2 billion last year, heading to $4 billion this year, and what we know is it's probably just the tip of the iceberg, because less than 13% of actual scams get reported for lots of reasons, not the least of which is that people are understandably embarrassed or distressed and don't want people to know that they've been fallen victim to one of these economic crimes.
Yeah, but doubling it, that's incredible. What's going wrong there? What's happening? Are they getting smarter? We're not taking as many steps to stop ourselves being scammed?
Look, a couple of things. This is actually big business for international crime gangs. They see Australia as a relatively wealthy nation. Everyone's got a mobile phone and an internet connection, and of course they're the vectors for this scam activity. And a lot more Australians have gone online through the pandemic and stayed online. And we want them to be conducting their business online, and the efficiencies of that are well known, but we've got to ensure that it's done safely. So this is National Scam Awareness Week, and we're taking this opportunity to raise awareness, but also to talk about our whole of government approach, because clearly what we're doing at the moment, what all governments and businesses are doing at the moment, isn't working, and a major step up is going to be needed if we're going to take on this horrific crime. Households are doing it tough. The last thing they need to be is losing their household savings, their livelihoods through these criminal gangs who are preying on ordinary Australians and businesses.
Yeah, I've really noticed a step up as well in the amount of online scams on social media, people purporting to be others and flogging material, and you know, I get people contacting me saying, is this you? And it's clearly not. I mean, what can you do about that?
Yeah, we want to put in place new laws which require a lot more to be done by social media platforms. Social media platforms are advertising these illegal criminal activities, seemingly without consequence, so we want more to be done, imposing obligations on social media platforms to take down these promotions of scam activities, and if they don't, tough new penalties imposed upon them. We need to be working with the banks and financial institutions and the telecommunications companies as well, because a lot of this is coming in by text message and SMS and emails as well, which is why the limbs to our new approach, a new anti-scam centre which is going to be dealing with this stuff in real time to ensure once we see a scam in motion, we're knocking it on the head as soon as possible, letting consumers know, letting banks know, requiring the social media platforms to act as well. Like, really moving on this stuff quickly. New fines and penalties imposed for when that doesn't occur. But we also need a job of work on the rectification as well. A lot of attention after the Optus and Medibank data breaches. Big chance that people have had their identities stolen and compromised. We want to make it easier for consumers and businesses to rectify their IDs, get a new driver's licence, get new IDs, and have that stuff sorted out quickly as well. But you can see from all of the things that I'm talking about, together with our changes to the privacy law, that a whole of government approach is needed, and one that works with industry and business, because we've all got a stake in getting this right.
And definitely we do, because there's a lot at stake when you look at the cybercrime, the cyberbullying, and the breach of data. Well, these days, how secure is your data? Nothing secure these days, if you ask me, because there are vulnerabilities. If you look at such a big data breach and looking at Optus, so, you know, your small companies, now the government is going to impose penalties on companies who have been hacked. So number one, you get hacked. Number two, you get hit with a fine. So I think the onus is on the companies to make sure that they systems are in place to safeguard that information. So much information is stored on the data storage devices these days that it's mind-blowing, even for us over the years, the amount of data that we have collected, and would like to keep all those, because for archival reasons, when we report on things like that, we can always go back and look at those the incidents, reports and photos from those times. Well, right now it's time to go to the next news, which is always in question. A lot of questions around this one, in even multicultural circles everywhere. Foster homes. So what is the right age for that?
It is. Rough Track founder Dave Graham knows how hard it is to take the leap into adulthood.
Transitioning from being a young person with a lot of care to an adult that is standing on your own 2 feet, it happens between the age of 18 to 21.
His farm in Windsor uses dogs to teach troubled kids valuable life skills.
Not all humans leave home when they're 18. Kids can't be kicked out of care when they're 18.
Ricky from Wollongong ended up on the streets when he reached the milestone age.
I was homeless, lived on the street for about 3 or 4 months before I could try and get anywhere. So it was very scary and there was no support.
It's a common story.
50% may be a new parent in prison or homeless just within their first 12 months prior to the extended care.
The new scheme will support foster kids both in and out of home care for an extra 3 years.
We're extending the carers allowance to ensure that young people can stay with their carers up to the age of 21.
Those who do choose to leave will receive fortnightly payments. The changes bring New South Wales into line with commitments from all other states and territories in Australia. That means that any foster child right across the country will soon be able to receive state care until the age of 21 if they need it.
It means we've got a national approach, and because care and protection is a state and territory jurisdiction, there are many things that are not consistent. So it's great to have this one right across Australia.
It will have been better for me because I will have been able to sort my life out and go on to TAFE and stay where I was living.
Helping young adults get a leg up in life. Hugh Hogan.
Yes, getting a leg up in life, and that is what's required. When they look at the ages, we have to look at if that person is ready to go out on his or her own self, whether they're self-sufficient, what sort of security have they, do they have a place to go to, rather than just releasing them like that. During my morning walks, I often see people sleeping on the sides and everything like that. My heart goes out to them. But, we are looking at supporting many other people within the community, but there are many right here on our doorsteps who also need our support. So, food for thought. Right now, let's move on to the next news for the day, which is the body of the 80-year-old found in Canberra Pond. This is quite distressing news.
Police had been searching for 80-year-old Pranav Vivekanandan for more than a day, releasing his photo and description in the hope he could be alive. Yesterday morning, around 8 o'clock, officers found his mother and young brother dead in Yerraby Pond after a report from the public. Police spent most of Saturday looking for the child in murky waters, expecting it could take days, and suspended their efforts when it got dark. Police divers returned around 8 o'clock this morning to continue the operation, with grave concerns for the young child's welfare. Just before 11 o'clock, the search ended in tragedy, when police divers recovered his body. First responders involved in the operation have been offered support and counselling. Police say there is no threat to the community and that they don't believe anyone else was involved in the deaths, but the circumstances are still unclear. Officers seized a white Subaru from outside the pond yesterday. The investigation is continuing and police are preparing a report for the coroner. Isaac Naruzi, ABC News, Canberra.
As I mentioned, that is rather disturbing news, but as it is still under investigation, so it's very hard to comment on that until the full facts come out. But it is disturbing nevertheless, a very, very unfortunate incident there. Well, right now, we look at all these gas prices, soaring gas prices. What is the government going to do about that?
This small company in the New South Wales country town of Young turns rocks into a magnesium supplement that dairy cows need to stay healthy. But the process requires a kiln to operate 24 hours a day, and the gas bill is so expensive right now, the company says its customers have been turning to cheaper products from China.
So unless we're able to give them a competitive price, they do not have any commercial interest in supporting us.
The director, Aditya Junjunwala, fears many energy-intensive manufacturers could go out of business over the next 18 months. To prevent that, he's urging the Albanese government to intervene now to force suppliers to lower or even halve current prices.
Because obviously there's no evidence that the producers will self-regulate the market and ensure an affordable price.
Prices are so high in part because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and the government's mulling a range of interventions.
Kate Cheney, welcome to the program.
But some crossbenchers argue a short-term super profits tax on gas companies is the best way of funding cost of living relief.
Really to make sure that we're looking after the most vulnerable, and the most vulnerable at the moment is not our gas companies.
Gas prices will be on the agenda as Parliament returns here this week, partly because they are a key contributor to the rising cost of electricity and the soaring cost of living. And that is making it much harder for the Albanese government to deliver on its election promise of boosting real pay packets of Australians. Labor is ramping up efforts to push its Secure Jobs, Better Pay bill through Parliament before Christmas. It contains a proposal for wages bargaining, which could see workers from similar companies band together in search of a better deal. Unions like it, businesses do not.
We think multi-employer bargaining is bad for the economy.
To build support, the government's made concessions which will reduce the number of companies that could be caught up in the changes. But key crossbenchers say Labor's running out of time, and a warning they might need the summer to properly consider the bill. James Glenday.
And of course, there's the two sides of the coin. The unions love it, the small businesses hate it. So, it's always going to be the case, and we just need to find that happy medium in between. Right now, let's go to South Australia, where the new laws now allow the shops to open earlier on Sundays. I reckon that is a good move.
It's been years in the making, but early birds in SA can now start their Sunday with a shop. New trading laws mean places like supermarkets and fashion retailers can open as early as 9 a.m. instead of 11. Foodland Norwood welcomed half a dozen eager customers first thing this morning who were excited about the changes.
Saves a bit of time, can get this sorted done early in the morning, so yeah, it works out quite well.
When you work full time and you've only got a couple of days on the weekend, really good.
The Shop Trading Hours Amendment Act was passed in Parliament last month as part of a state government election promise. While not everyone was happy about the plan at first, the Premier says his government has worked with stakeholders to reach the right agreement.
This is the demonstration of a Labor government sitting down, working with business, hearing their calls and then responding with action.
The opposition has given the extra hours the tick of approval, but thinks changes should go even further.
The Labor Party hasn't budged on shopping on things like Labor Day, and that's very disappointing.
But there are concerns that businesses will pressure staff into working hours they don't agree to. The Shop Distributed and Allied Employees Association says employers could face harsh penalties if they do.
If any employer does require an employee to work against their will, they're subject to fines up to $100,000.
The legislation also means stores in the suburbs can open on Boxing Day between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Over the next 12 months, there will once again be 4 nights of midnight trading on Black Friday late this month and on the 15th, 22nd and 23rd of December. Imogen Hain, ABC News, Adelaide.
So there you go, that's good news for the opening hours. But right now, Queensland, the second largest dam reaches the highest level.
It's been a tough few years for cotton growers like Renee Anderson. After years of drought, many farmers in this region have scaled back their operations to survive.
Growers have been opportunity cropping, predominantly winter crops, quite small areas when they can, making use of any rainfall.
Fairburn Dam near Emerald reached a record low in 2020 and water allocations were slashed.
People just wanted to see some rain.
Those prayers have been answered, with about 230,000 megalitres flowing into the dam after recent rain events. Dam operator Sunwater says irrigators will have full access to their water allocations this year. Local vineyard manager Paul Wortley says more water means more grapes.
for the first time in a few years that we'll have much better water security, give us confidence in planting young vines again.
It's not just farmers who are celebrating the rising dam level. The recent rainfall has lifted community spirits, and Fairburn Dam is a hub of activity for locals and tourists. And it's expected to get busier in coming months.
In the last 2 days.
And it will get busier. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. India has rejected the China-Pakistan joint statement on Jammu and Kashmir and China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. India has rejected the China-Pakistan joint statement made in Beijing on November 3rd. India also rejected the unwarranted references made in it about Jammu and Kashmir and the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The said joint statement was issued at the end of Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's visit to Beijing. At a media briefing, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said, quote, "We have consistently rejected such statements in the past. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh are and will always be integral and inalienable parts of India. No other country has a locus standi," end quote. On the two nations inviting third countries to invest in CPEC, the spokesperson said India has consistently conveyed its protests and concerns to China and Pakistan over the CPEC, which included projects in the sovereign territory of India that were under forcible and illegal external occupation. The Indian spokesman said, quote, "Any third-party involvement in the so-called CPEC is illegal, illegitimate and unacceptable," end quote. According to the joint statement, the Pakistani side briefed the Chinese side on the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The Chinese side reiterated that the Kashmir issue was a dispute left from history that should be properly and peacefully resolved based on the UN Charter, relevant UN Security Council resolutions and bilateral agreements. On the CPEC, the joint statement said both sides welcomed interested third parties to benefit from investment opportunities in the priority areas of CPEC cooperation, such as industry, agriculture, IT, science and technology, and oil and gas. India and Afghanistan have signed an agreement to reopen air corridor for trade to resume trade between the two countries. Officials in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce in Kabul have said that the air corridor between India and Afghanistan has been reopened and trade between the countries would resume. The trade between Kabul and New Delhi was halted after the Taliban took over Afghanistan last year. Afghanistan's Commerce Ministry spokesperson Abdul Salam Jaweed said India and Afghanistan signed a trade agreement on October 31st. India has been a major importer of Afghan saffron, dry fruits and the asafoetida plant. The Afghanistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry hoped that trade of these goods would be conducted through the air corridor. The resumption of the air corridor was welcomed by Afghan traders who are hopeful that India would be a good market for its products. Presently, Afghanistan exports pine nuts to India and the UAE through an air corridor. Over the past several years, India has proved to be the major market for Afghan products, particularly dry fruits. Now, Afghanistan is also looking to sell wheat to India. The export of Afghan goods to India has increased exponentially this year compared to the preceding year. According to the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, 30,000 tons of handicrafts have been exported from Afghanistan to India in 2022. Though India has not officially recognized the Taliban to be the legitimate ruler of Afghanistan, it has been helping the crisis-hit country by sending aid like vaccines, food and medicines. India has significantly beefed up air defense by developing an interceptor capable of defending against any 5,000-kilometer range ballistic missile. India on November 2nd test-fired the AD-1 missile, which will provide a major capability boost to the Indian defense sector. With its successful test, India can now destroy incoming enemy ballistic missiles fired at it from 5,000 kilometers. Defense Research and Development Organization Chief Dr. Samir Kamat said they had initially developed an BMD Phase 1 capability to destroy incoming missiles of 2,000-kilometer class. The November 2nd test helped India to now intercept any missile of the 5,000-kilometer class. The missile AD-1 is part of the Phase 2 development program of the BMD Shield and can destroy both ballistic missiles and low-flying fighter aircraft. The DRDO chief further said this was a significant jump in capability against long-range ballistic missiles. The radars pick up the incoming missile, the system tracks it and the interceptor is activated and missiles is intercepted. It is mainly endo-atmospheric and it also works in the low exo-atmospheric region. The DRDO chief said India is parallelly developing a high exo-atmospheric region interceptor. Dr. Kamath said that 2025 India is confident of proving its capability, including this AD-1 missile as well as high exo-atmospheric missile. The entire BMD system includes long-range tracking radars which can detect the launch of missiles from submarines, land-based systems, aerial platforms or warships. The Indian Diaspora Group launches a petition urging the US administration to reduce the wait list for American visas issued from India. Foundation for India and Indian Diaspora Studies, a US-based diaspora group, has launched an online petition campaign urging US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to reduce the long wait list for various types of American visas being issued from India. The foundation has started a petition campaign on change.org, a non-profit petition website highlighting the contrast in wait times at the US consulates in China for visa appointments. FIT says in the petition, quote, "We request the State Department, Secretary of State Mr. Antony Blinken and the US embassies in India to eliminate wait times for visa appointments in India." Even after a 2-year-long COVID-era pause in visa appointments at the US embassies in India, the visa appointment situation is far from normal, requiring 300 to 900 days of wait time based on the visa types, end quote. On October 31st, there was an average 900 plus days wait time for appointments for visitors' visas, an average 400 days wait time for students, and an average 300 days wait time for petition-based temp workers like H, L, O, P and Q across the USA consulates in India. In contrast, the US consulates in China only have an average 3 days wait time, FIT said. The 900 plus days delay deprives Indian Americans and Indian immigrants in the USA of having their beloved relatives to visit, whether in times of difficulties, needs or celebrations impacting their quality of life. The petition says that 400 plus days wait time affects students joining the US universities, that not only impacts students' future but also negatively impacts the US universities. And the 300 plus days wait time is impacting productivity and success of various industries and businesses due to lack of skilled workers. The online petition urges the US State Department and Secretary Blinken to resolve this issue, as it is not only important for US interests but the right thing to do on moral and compassionate grounds. SpiceJet has started scheduled flights to Rome and Milan from Amritsar in Punjab state due to high demand. Indian aircraft carrier SpiceJet has for the first time started scheduled flights to Europe after operating several medium to long haul charters during COVID. The budget carrier will now fly its Boeing 737 MAX twice a week between Amritsar and Rome Fiumicino and thrice weekly between Amritsar and Milan Bergamo. These flights will take a 40-minute technical halt in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, where the operating crew, both pilots and cabin crew, will change both on the way out of India and back home. A SpiceJet official said the airline had operated a lot of charters to North America and Europe during COVID. There is a significant demand to travel on some of those routes on which we used to operate charters. Hence, SpiceJet started scheduled Italy flights from Wednesday. This is the first time we will be operating regularly scheduled flights to Europe. SpiceJet expects to get an additional 1,000 crore loan under the government's amended emergency credit line guarantee scheme for airlines. Go Air and SpiceJet are learned to have applied for loans from the modified ECLGS. This loan will rejuvenate the airline, help clear all statutory dues, induct new Boeing 737 MAX aircraft and settle the survivability debate of the carrier. Western disturbance is expected to impact weather in India's Himalayan region with snowfall and moderate rain predicted. The India Meteorological Department has said that a fresh western disturbance is expected to impact weather in India's Himalayan region from November 4th and adjoining plains from November 5th. It said that heavy rainfall was also expected in Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Kerala states over the next 5 days. IMD said a cyclonic circulation was over Tamil Nadu and the neighborhood, and a trough was running from this system to north interior Karnataka in lower and middle tropospheric levels. It added northeasterly winds were along and off North Tamil Nadu and adjoining coastal areas of South Andhra Pradesh. Widespread light to moderate rainfall with isolated heavy rainfalls and thunderstorms were very likely to continue. IMD said scattered, fairly widespread light to moderate rainfall and snowfall was likely in Jammu, Ladakh, Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan and Muzaffarabad and Himachal Pradesh until the weekend. Isolated light to moderate rainfall and snowfall was likely in Uttarakhand on November 5th. The trailer of Anjali Menon starrer Wonder Woman has been released by Sony Live. Nithya Menon and Parvati Thiruvothu starrer film Wonder Woman has been promoted in a distinctive style. The film celebrates courage and sisterhood. The film narrates the story of 6 pregnant women who arrive at a prenatal class with beliefs, confusion and questions regarding pregnancy and childbirth. In their quest to know it all, they discover their identity and answers to their deep-rooted problems. The official Instagram handle of Sony Live shared the trailer of Wonder Women. Wonder Women, a tale of pregnant women who meet at a prenatal class and stumble on far more than they expect. Writer-director Anjali Menon brings together a wonderful cast for Wonder Women, streaming on Sony Live from November 18th. Produced by Ronnie Screwvala and Ashi Duasara, Wonder Woman stars Nadia Moidu, Nithya Menon, Parvati Thiruvotthu, Padma Priya Janakiraman, Sayonara Philip, Archana Padmini and Amruta Subhash. Directed by Anjali Menon, the film will be available for streaming on Sony Live from November 18th. The promo of South superstar Vijay's song Ranjithame was released from the movie Varisu. The promo of the song from Vijay's upcoming film Varisu Ranjithame was released on November 3rd. The dance number is crooned by Vijay and M.M. Manasi and composed by Thaman S. In the promo, we see Vijay matching steps with a group of dancers. The song seems to be a colourful dance number which is likely to top the music charts. The full song will release on November 5th. Varisu, written and directed by Vamshi Paidipali, also stars Rashmika Mandana, Khushbu Sham, Prabhu, R. Sarath Kumar, Prakash Raj, Shrikant and Yogi Babu. Varisu, which means air, is touted to be a family entertainer with all the filmy masala. The makers had also released a few stills from the film featuring Vijay. Vijay is believed to be playing an NRI who returns to his native place in India. That's all for this bulletin of the Daily India Report.
And thank you very much, Ankita, for that our news update. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you had missed the opening ceremony of the Incredible India exhibition, here's a glimpses of that. ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have for you in today's segment. Tomorrow we'll bring you updated version of the upcoming functions and events as well. It's been wonderful having your company today on the 7th of the 11th today. Well, until tomorrow, it's goodbye from us as usual. Been wonderful having your company.